Okay, now let's talk about your calories, because the end of the day, we're going to be talking about hormones in this program throughout the program, okay? So there is definitely a hormonal impact when it comes to fat loss, but at the end of the day, if fat loss is your goal, I'm going to speak mostly to fat loss because most people in this group, their goal is to lose some fat, okay? So if at the end of the day, your goal is fat loss, it's imperative, and the bottom line is that we have to take in fewer calories than we eat, okay? So that did not make sense. We have to eat fewer calories than we burn. So there is this caloric burn of me just sitting. If I sit in this chair all day, sorry about that glare, you guys. Missy burns about 1,600 calories a day just sitting here being Missy. Okay, this is based on my muscle mass. This is based on my health of my metabolism, my metabolic rate. It's based on my age. It's based on my general activity of the majority of my life. But just to be me, I burn about 1,600 calories a day. Okay, and then when I'm up and I'm doing my things, actually, I think, let me see. I can't remember actually. I think mine is. There's a calculator. It's called your total daily energy expenditure calculator. I might be a little bit off on my numbers. So I will put a link to this calculator in the group too. So one of the things is I like for you guys to go through this process, because once you go through the process of using the calculator, it'd be easy for me. Well, it wouldn't actually be that easy. It would take me a lot of time to calculate everybody's everything. But I do definitely find when you do your own calculations, you start to own it. And that's what this program is about. We don't want to do all the numbers for you and then find out, that you haven't really owned it. You just kind of did what we said. We want you to be responsible for your health and your future of your fat loss. Okay, so Missy, for Missy to maintain my basal metabolic rate, that is what it just costs to be me to sit around, is 1,435 calories a day. Now, you guys might be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. I get a lot of calories just to be you. And it's true, you actually do. Then when I have a day that is, if I was gonna maintain my weight, if I have a day that's pretty active, I got a good workout in today, I'm gonna be on my feet today, I'm running around, working with people, things like that. If that's my typical day, then in order for me to maintain my weight, I would take in 2,224 calories, okay? In order for me to lose weight, I'm gonna have to reduce that calorie intake. And usually, you're looking at something at about a reduction of about 500 calories a day of food in order to lose 1 pound a week. This is what you want to write down. You want to reduce your caloric intake from your maintenance level to about 500 calories a day to lose weight, fat, okay? So for me, that gives me about 1,700 calories a day to eat with my activity and with my workouts, and I should lose weight, okay? So keep that in mind. 500 calories a day, 7 days a week will achieve 1 pound fat loss, okay? And that is a safe range, but we can also add more activity. We can go for walks and burn more calories. A lot of you haven't been working out, so you're automatically going to be burning more calories just from now. Suddenly you're going to the gym. We're going to talk about walking down the road, but I'm a huge fan of walking daily. Don't think of just your workout as your activity. If you have a sedentary job, get up and move as much as possible. And if you can get an extra 500 calories a day of activity, then you will then be able to lose 2 pounds a week. 500 calories reduced from food, 500 calories output increased. That will make 1,000 calorie deficit from my 2,224 calories, and I should ideally be losing about 2 pounds a week. So that gives you an idea of what it takes to hit that 2 pounds a week goal. The more fat you have to lose, you're gonna find that you lose more than 2 pounds a week right off the get-go. So yay for that, right? Okay, so get your pencils, because I have another simple calculation. I will put a list of these calculators in a post for you, but I want you to do a very simple calculation. You're gonna take your current weight and you're gonna multiply that by 10, okay? So that is 10 calories per day per current pound of body weight. should equal your lower end typically. Again, hormones come into play, so it's very different for everyone, but I want to give you a good place to get started with this calorie calculating thing. Now, keep in mind, if you are a good, better, best girl, like you just got to get good food on a plate, don't get overwhelmed with the numbers. Just know that this is something in your knower that you've learned, and you can apply it when you're ready to apply it, okay? Don't get overwhelmed. This is not a must or a have to, but I want you to be educated as to how it happens, because some people are going to be at different levels and they want to dive right into the numbers. Okay, so take your current body weight. Let's say you are a 150-pound woman. You're going to multiply your 150 pounds by 10. That's 1,500 calories a day, should be your low end. And this is for fat loss. These are figures that we're losing for fat loss. It's 10 to 12 calories per day per pound of per pound of body weight, okay? So as a 150-pound woman, you would be taking in 1,500 calories. That's your 150 calories times 10, up to 1,800 calories. That's your 150 pounds times 12 calories. So that's a range. You can take in 1,500 to 1,800 calories. And the way I would use that range is if you have a low energy, low activity day, you're sedentary, you didn't get a workout, you didn't get to walk, you got less than 10,000 steps a day, I would say go and use that 1,500 calorie amount. If you had a super active day and you were to the gym and you sweated and you were huffy and you're a puffy and you got walks in and you just been running around, go ahead and give yourself a little bit more, because the calories will fuel that activity. So that would be a day that you might have 1,800 calories. Okay, so super simple. For those of you that aren't going to be tracking calories and all of that, super simple is you're going to take your current body weight, multiply it by 10, and then also multiply it by 12, and that will give you a range. And this is like your practice range of what you're shooting for, okay? Now we can dial this in a lot more specifically with these calculators that I will, like I said, I'll make a post and I'll link to these different calculators to help you. These are online calculators to help you calculate this out, because you don't want the math equation that goes behind the calculator, I promise. It's ridiculous. Back in the day, we literally had to do all this math. It was crazy. But now, thanks to the interwebs, my job is easier. Okay, so now that's your kind of talk on calories. Calories in versus calories out. Our goal here is to take in fewer calories than we burn. And the way we're going to do that is either reducing food calories by 500 a day or increasing your activity calories by 500 a day, or both, okay? Reducing your food 500 a day will equate to about a 1 pound fat loss a week. Increasing your exercise activity a day by 500 calories will equate to a 1 pound fat loss per week. Doing both should equate to about a 2 pound fat loss per week. Okay, so this all depends on your goals and your ambition and your lifestyle and all of that. Again, one size fits all never works. So I'm going to give you the tools to do your best. And keep this in mind. We go through these different phases in life where we can focus both on the food and the fitness. Sometimes we're just not in a place where we can focus on both. So if you can't focus on getting a walk in every day and being super active, really just focus on honing in on your beautiful food on your plate, okay? And that is okay. Okay, now get your pencil. We're going to talk about protein. I'm also going to give you a calculator to help you figure this out as well, okay? I'm going to help you figure out protein. But first, I want you to know why protein is important. Most women do not eat enough protein. Protein is super important because it makes you feel fuller longer. That's really important because I don't like to be hungry myself. Protein has what's called the thermogenic effect. And this basically means that it takes a lot to digest and break down. And so you will burn calories in the process of breaking that protein down, which is why it makes you feel fuller longer, because it takes time to break down. Fiber is the same way. All your vegetables, they take, they're... Speaking of vegetables, you guys want to see what I got going on here? A few vegetables. They're staring at me like, do something with me. Fiber takes a long time to break down also. So when it comes to protein, it helps build muscle. Muscle fuels itself with your fat stores. It's your main metabolic tissue. So when people say, oh, I really need to boost my metabolism, my first thought is, let's start adding some muscle. Start lifting some weights, building muscle. But you have to have protein to help build that muscle, okay? Also, little known fact, ladies, As your estrogen declines, those of you heading toward menopause or already in menopause or just right in the middle of it, as estrogen declines, our ability to maintain our muscle declines as well. So that is why we are such a strength-based gym, is that we know that the women in our age group that we work with need to be building muscle if they're going to boost their metabolism. Not only that, but it feels good to have muscle on your body and to be able to do stuff and not to feel, things wiggle around. It'll feel awesome. And that will boost your self-esteem, and then you'll eat more vegetables and meat, and then you'll go to the gym more, and it's this whole beautiful cycle. So protein maintains your muscle. We're fighting a double battle here. Not only are we aging, and it's harder for us to maintain muscle when we age, but we are also fighting the decline of estrogen, okay? That was our muscle building, muscle maintaining hormone, much like men have the testosterone for that, right? So at our age, it's very, very important to be lifting muscle. So when we're in the gym and we're like, hey, so I see you doing those 5-pound curls. Do you think you could do 8? And if you're scared, just try 8. I'll get in more on strength training and stuff in a whole other video, but just try it. Trust us, because we know we're not going to hurt you, but just give it a little try. Okay. Because you will accelerate your results of getting beautiful muscle faster. What else was I going to tell you? The other thing, ladies, when it comes to menopausal brain or menopausal anxiety or depression, protein, did you know that protein is a precursor to a lot of your brain chemicals? Serotonin is one. Serotonin is a very important one. So we have protein creates like a precursor for your brain to create serotonin. Serotonin is I feel good about myself. It's like a self-esteem brain chemical. So these things, we need these brain chemicals going, because again, when it comes to your health and your fitness, if you're feeling not great about yourself and you're just feeling sluggish and your brain is foggy and you just feel like your brains are falling out, then it's a lot harder to get your good food on a plate, and it's a lot harder to get motivated. And I hear this a lot, menopausal women feeling unmotivated. And these brain chemicals are a lot of that. It's harder to get to the gym. It's harder to want to exercise. But I promise you, ladies, in a couple of weeks, once you get this activity going, you're going to be amazed at your energy. So those of you that have been really struggling with this menopausal drain, please hang on tight, because it's coming. Okay. And I say this with excitement because I see it all the time. They're like, wow, I can't believe I'm sleeping better and I'm eating better. It's just a miracle. It's awesome. Okay, so that is why we want protein. Let's talk about how much. Get your pencil. Okay, so in general, we want you to eat, are you ready? 0.8 grams to 1 gram, get this, per pound of your body weight, your current body weight. So if you did the math, I did it ahead of time because my on-the-spot math is not great. If you did the math and you're a 150-pound woman, that means that you're going to be, I know, don't let your brains fall out. It is 120 grams to 150 grams a day. That is way more. That's like 3 times more than I typically see women eating, 2 to 3 times more. I would say when a woman comes in to me for a nutrition consultation and I ask them to track some stuff and we do some calculations, I find they're eating about 60 grams a day. That is not enough to help support maintaining the muscle mass now that they don't have estrogen. If they're working out hard, it's not enough to support that workout, okay? And it's probably not enough to support those, I don't know the numbers on this, but it's probably not enough to support those healthy brain chemicals that we need, okay? Or to keep them full. So just making this adjustment, and I know that many of you, your eyeballs just fell out and your mouth opened wide because you're like, how in the world? Well, take a look at the meal plans, because I make sure that my meal plans are anywhere from 80 to 120 grams of protein per day. Some of you, again, after you do your calculations, will find that you need to add more. But by using the meal plans and the different, maybe you'll add in an extra snack. Maybe my snack is 1 hard-boiled egg and you might need a hard-boiled egg and an egg white or something like that. So that's, again, the deductive part of it. So that sounds like a lot, and usually it is for most people, but again, consider this practice, okay? But that's the thing that you will find once you start eating that protein, you will be so much more satiated possibly than you have been in the past, because you're gonna be like, I'm good. A lot of times people think a diet or a nutrition program is going to leave them hungry, but not when you add in that protein. And I've only listed off like 3 or 4 benefits of protein. There is a lot of benefit to protein. So, one more time on the math, it's 0.8 grams of protein up to 1 gram of protein per pound of current body weight. Okay? Do the math and figure that out. Don't be crazed by it, because we got you in the meal plans. That's the point of the meal plan, is to help you. This is what I get all the time. How am I going to get that much protein? Well, the meal plans will give you a pretty good idea of that, because they are usually 80 grams in my meal plans is pretty low. I usually strive to get there in the 90 to 100 plus. Okay. So check it out. So in the meal plans, you'll see there's like a breakdown each day of the nutritional content of that day. So take a look at that. I can't remember. It's like on the first 2 or 3 pages. Take a look at that, because that'll be very educational, so you can kind of see what's happening. What else did I want to tell you about that? So in a nutshell, I tell people we want to get about 25% to 30% of your daily calories is protein. Okay. So I got math coming up here. So if I am eating 2,000 calories a day, I chose easy math. If I'm eating 2,000 calories a day, 30% of those is going to be 600 of my calories are going to come from protein. And now, in order to figure that out, you have to be doing, you have to be tracking, like using an app to track. I'll get into that in a minute. That might be more advanced than some of you want. So what I would suggest, if you are somebody that's like, okay, I can handle a little bit of tracking, just not like everything, it's just too much for me, then I would say the first thing is to track your protein. And what we might do is, I'm suggesting that you might do, is throughout the course of this program, maybe your first few weeks, you're really just gonna focus on the calories and the protein, and that's all you're gonna look at. And then maybe as we go, you'll start to pay attention, okay, I think I got it figured out what it takes for me to get enough protein. Now I'm going to start looking at how many carbs am I taking in? Okay. So we're going to go to carbs next. Typically, we talked about 5 to 7 bites. Typically what I see is women that are perimenopausal, menopausal, fat loss clients, or diabetic, we want to keep your grams of carbohydrates around 150 or less a day. Now, what I typically see when people come into me with their meal plans, about 2 to 250 grams a day. When you put that many grams of carbohydrates into a woman's body that is carb resistant, and somebody that's not exercising enough to warrant that much energy through the day, then you're going to start putting on fat, right? So again, I try to keep carbs at about 40% of the daily caloric intake. And again, some of these numbers will work for some of you. Others of you might be like, oh my gosh, too many numbers. If you're thinking too many numbers, go ahead and only focus on getting good food on a plate. Level 2 would be good food on a plate, and then I'm going to count some calories. And again, I'm going to make a post with all these calculators and all these apps that will help you track your food, okay? And then level 3 would be, okay, good food on a plate, I'm going to count my calories, and I'm going to start paying attention to how much protein I'm getting, or maybe even protein and carbs. I'm going to look at all those. Okay, so with that said, a lot of you guys have probably heard of the term macros. Macros are your macronutrients. Those are your proteins, your carbs, and your fats, okay? There's a train of thought, and it's very effective to count your macros, meaning always paying attention to getting the right ratio of proteins, carbs, and fats each day. I will give you a calculator that helps you figure that out for those of you that want to be really scientific about it. No shame in that. I love it. I do it myself, but I don't like to recommend it for people that aren't ready for it because it can be very overwhelming. So listen to this video and think about maybe over the course of the 6 weeks, you're like, Tay, I'm going to gradually work myself into that. And just don't feel like you have to do it all in one day. Okay. So carbohydrates, most of my meal plans are definitely less than 200 carbs a day. and they're usually down around the 150 or less. Okay, so keep an eye on those because, you know, it might be for you, again, it might be more than you need. And again, carbs give us fuel. They give us energy. So on a super active day, I'm going to eat something more like 8 to 10 bites of carbs per meal. Whereas on a Netflixing day, I'm probably going to eat 5 bites per meal. Okay. And focus more on meat and veggies. Okay. So that kind of gives you an idea of, I don't count personally every single calorie that goes in my mouth every single day, because now I've kind of got this idea of how much activity did I do and how much do I need to balance that out. I did have a day this weekend where I know I was driving a lot and I had way more carbs than I normally do because we just didn't have the healthy snacks that I typically would eat, and even those were more fruity. So, you know, there's days you're just gonna have those days. It's okay. But today, right back on the wagon. Okay. And then when it comes to fats, I usually recommend 1 to 2 thumbfuls per plate with those healthy fats, which were the coconut-based products. And when I say products, I don't mean like a Mounds bar. I mean like coconut milk, coconut, actual coconut sprinkle, coconut oil. They would be avocado spray oil or avocado itself, olive oils, and nuts and seeds kind of fall into that fat category. Okay. Also fatty fish. I forgot to mention that. Fatty fish. So salmon, mackerel. This should all be in your success manual as well. But okay, girls, that's a lot. So that in a nutshell is how I design the meal plans and what our concept is about teaching you to be that food detective, to get good food on a plate, and how to, navigate your way. I will make a separate post right now, just above this, and it will be about, I'm going to give you the calorie calculating calculator. I'm also going to give you a calculator that will help you, those of you that want to know what your macros, your carbs, proteins, and fats are based on your weight, your height, your age. I'll give you that calculator. I was going to also give you let's see, there was something else. MyFitnessPal. Or I use an app called Fat Secret that I use to track. So I track my calories in that. And I don't do this every single day. I might recommend you do it every single day for a little while. I just kind of pop in, on a day like today, when I had a weekend that wasn't ideal, I would use it to get myself back in action. Sometimes I just do it throughout the week, here and there, depending on the busyness of my day, just to kind of see, am I still falling within my range of protein? It helps me. I usually enter my breakfast and lunch at once, and then it kind of helps me look ahead and say, okay, that means I definitely need a little more protein snack in the afternoon, and my dinner is going to be, larger protein or whatever I need. So it helps me kind of forecast what I'm going to be eating.